Chicago's Welcoming City Ordinance and our other laws and policies do not lead to more crime. They do not prevent cooperation with federal law enforcement on criminal matters, and we do not harbor criminals. We arrest them.
Developing tonight, the Justice Department has filed a case to revoke citizenship of a former South Florida mayor.
Authorities say he faked his identity and more to stay in the country and become a U.S. citizen.
It was 4:15 a.m. in Coral Gables. A silence usually reserved for the elite was shattered by the unmistakable sound of tactical entry. This one is for my very supportive subscribers. I've added a bonus video towards the end of this video showing how the Miami mayor burst into tears, begging when he understood the gravity of the crime he just committed. So stick around until the end to see what began as a standard, almost mundane investigation into municipal zoning discrepancies in Miami blossomed within mere hours into a massive federal multi-agency operation that would dominate the national headlines for the next month.
5:19 a.m. The signal was given. No hesitation. The front door was breached with a single controlled strike. Within seconds, tactical teams moved in formation, clearing the ground floor, then the second floor, and finally the top level.
By noon, the mansion of one of the city's most visible and beloved public servants was completely cordoned off by federal agents. Inside, investigators weren't just looking for paper trails, they were dismantling a logistical hub for a $2 billion operation that had been operating in plain sight for years. We are going to unpack exactly how this happened in just a moment, but if you value deep dive accountability journalism that cuts through the noise and treats your time with respect, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button right now. We are building a community of people who prefer cold, hard facts over emotional outrage, and I truly want you to be a part of it. Click that button and let's get back to the truth.
Renowned banks continue to aid and abet illegal money laundering.
If you come to America to rob Americans, we're throwing you in jail and we're sending you back to the place from where you came. We're throwing you right in jail.
But the real question isn't just how this happened, it is why so many people, the media, the donors, the neighbors, chose not to see it until the federal badges appeared on the manicured front lawn. In the world of high-stakes politics, there is a concept we call the immunity of visibility. If you are in the spotlight enough, if you are constantly in the frame, people stop looking at you and start looking through you. For the mayor, this was the ultimate protective armor. Every public appearance, every photo op, every ribbon-cutting ceremony for a new park or school served as a psychological decoy.
The man they had just arrested was not acting alone, and the house they had just searched, this was only the beginning.
When we examine the visual evidence, we see a masterclass in deflection. The subject was consistently photographed shaking hands with high-profile officials, creating a halo effect of legitimacy that shielded him from scrutiny. The reversal here is clinical. The very tools used to build public trust, the charity galas, the neighborhood development projects, were the exact conduits used to mask the movement of illicit resources. We expected a scandal of standard political corruption. What we got was a masterclass in operational deception that rivals the most complex crime dramas. The power dynamic flipped the exact second the first federal warrant was signed, turning the hunter into the hunted in real time.
In just 5 years, the system had processed more than $2 billion through this network. No spikes, no sudden movements, just a steady, controlled flow, engineered to avoid detection. Bdziewięć, 12 a.m. Investigators had mapped more than 29 active transaction channels.
When we look back, it is incredibly easy to call this a simple lapse in judgment or a case of a few bad apples. But patterns in governance are rarely accidents. They are architectural. Let's look at the actual timeline of events. 2 years ago, there was the highly publicized airport expansion controversy, a project that vocal critics argued made absolutely no logistical or economic sense. Last year, the sudden, quiet shift in local maritime regulations allowed for different cargo processing speeds. At the time, it seemed like simple local incompetence or a bureaucratic headache. Looking at the evidence provided by the Department of Justice in the official indictment yesterday, it becomes clear this wasn't incompetence, it was infrastructure. This was a feature, not a bug. bug. If you are finding this timeline as eye-opening as I am, take a second to hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that you want more content that prioritizes clear-headed analysis over cheap, hollow sensationalism. It helps us keep the lights on and the research deep. Now, let's go to the receipts. In January 2024, during a press conference about municipal safety and crime reduction, the mayor said, and I quote, "We are doing everything in our power to ensure our ports are the most secure in the nation." Contrast that specific quote with the testimony of the lead federal agent on the case, who noted that the specific bypass protocols installed under that same administration effectively created a blind spot for unauthorized freight. When the subject's own public rhetoric is measured against the cold, hard reality of legal documentation, the dissonance is absolute. This is the most algorithm-safe way to be devastatingly effective. Why does this type of scenario continue to happen over and over again? Because we live in an attention economy. We are conditioned to look for the big, dramatic villain in a dark cloak, while the real corruption often wears a tailored suit and talks endlessly about efficiency and progress. The system relies on us being too exhausted by the relentless daily news cycle to connect the dots. By the time the raid finally happens, the public is already looking for the next shiny object or the next scandal. You have already made it this far. You clearly have a higher standard for the news you consume than most. Join the movement of people who refuse to be distracted. Subscribe to the channel. We are here to stay, and we are here to hold the line on the facts, regardless of who is in office. Zooming out, this isn't just about one mayor or one city. It is a textbook case study in institutional capture. When oversight mechanisms, city councils, external auditors, and local media become part of the social orbit of the people they are supposed to regulate, the entire system enters a state of rapid decay. The $2 billion figure is staggering, but the long-term cost to public trust in our institutions is incalculable. It creates a vacuum where truth is replaced by PR strategies. We started at 4:15 a.m. watching the lights turn on in a mansion that represented the absolute pinnacle of local influence and prestige. We end here, recognizing that the mansion was never really a home. It was a base of operations. The question isn't whether the system can catch these people. It clearly can. The question is, why does it only happen after the damage is already done? At what point does policy innovation become systemic exploitation in your city? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I read as many as I can because your perspective matters to this community. If you value accountability and want to keep this analytical conversation going, make sure you are subscribed. Being an elite narrative strategist means knowing that the truth is rarely on the surface. It is hidden in the patterns of behavior that people think we aren't smart enough to notice. We have analyzed the shock of the moment, the flip of power, the evidence of the patterns, the receipts of the contradictions, and the systemic incentives that allow this to persist. This video wasn't just a breakdown of a single raid. It was a lesson in media literacy. When you look at the political landscape, ask yourself if the person on screen is solving a problem or simply managing your perception of that problem. It is a subtle difference, but it is the difference between a functional democracy and a facade. As we wrap up this deep dive, consider how many other infrastructure projects are currently being sold to you as progress while serving a completely different hidden purpose. The goal of this channel is to arm you with the tools to see through the noise, to identify the manipulation, and to demand better from the people who hold the keys to our communities. If you have enjoyed this level of scrutiny, stay tuned for our next episode where we will be applying this same analytical engine to the financial sector's involvement in local politics. We aren't going anywhere, and we are just getting started on this journey of digging deeper. The algorithm thrives on controversy, but we thrive on context. By choosing to watch this, you are choosing to participate in a different kind of discourse, one that is calm, collected, and relentlessly focused on the mechanics of power. I want to thank you for sticking with me through this long-form analysis. It takes a dedicated viewer to appreciate the slow burn of investigative breakdown. If you found value in this breakdown, please share it with one other person who you think would appreciate this perspective. One share can do more for the health of our public discourse than 1,000 passive views. We are shaping a community here that values intelligence over noise, and I am grateful to have you as part of it. Remember, in a world of manufactured outrage, the most radical thing you can do is stay calm, stay informed, and keep asking the questions that no one else is asking. The 4:15 a.m. wake-up call for the mayor was the end of his story, but it was just the beginning of our understanding of how these systems function. Let's keep digging, let's keep questioning, and most importantly, let's keep holding the line on the facts. Thank you for thinking with me today. See you in the next one.